Okay, Ted, go ahead and make that skill check.
Ugh, that would be a 4.
So you rolled a 4 or a total of a 4?
Total.
Didn't you have advantage?
Oh, yeah! Even better. A 6.
Wow. So perhaps we should talk about getting the highest skill check ever for 5th edition D&D. Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Steve, and as usual, I'm joined by this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
If you want more D&D videos, don't leave it up to a roll of the dice. Instead, click the subscribe button.
And if it's more Nerdarchy you seek, then let us bring the skills by ringing that notification bell so you don't miss a single video.
Before we jump into this video, let me take a moment to thank our sponsor, D&D Beyond. They made finding all the different ways of increasing your skill check so much easier. It is the ultimate database of all things official Dungeons and Dragons, but there is so much more you can do over there. It makes things so much easier, whether you're building characters, encounters, or taking your campaign notes. D&D Beyond is going to power up your D&D game.
Yeah, D&D Beyond is great. Beyond the videos, the articles over there, there's so much more. I've got a new campaign, that's getting started, or making a new character for that campaign. Super excited, and D&D Beyond has all the tools to make it, so easy. Notes for adding in, character stories, notes for adding in, specialty items. It's just fabulous, and it puts it all, in a nice, easy package for you.
All right, let's jump into this video, and let's see if we can't come up with the best skill check ever, the highest, the most skilly we've ever made. So, so the idea is we've done very specific builds in the past. This one's not going to be so specific. It's going to be more generic, like, just any check. How can we make it the highest? And I think we do a pretty good job. So first thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at character classes.
Now, as Dave says, we're looking at things that are going to apply to all skills. So there are definitely loads of things throughout, the class structure that's going to give bonuses to a specific skill or in specific scenarios. And we're pushing all of those aside for this particular video. So what do we start off with first, sir?
So first, we're just going to look at the ability of expertise, because it just gives you the ability to double your bonus, your proficiency bonus, right? So with that, you've got Artificer for all your tools. Bard, you can take whatever you want. Cleric is going to give you some knowledge skills that you can choose from. Fighter is very specific. There's the Purple Dragon Knight. You can get, advantage to persuasion for that one. It's super specific. And then again, Rogue, you can kind of do whatever you want with your expertise.
Doubling your proficiency bonus is, super, super helpful. That's going to cap out at a plus 12, by the time you get that proficiency bonus maxed out. So 12 before you're touching die, before you're touching stats, before you're touching any of the other modifiers in a system where 1 to 30 is your spectrum. That already means that there is no way that you're not going to do a bang-up job. It's going to be good no matter what. It might not be great. It might not be excellent. It might not be legendary, but it's at least good.
At the very least. So now we're going to look at specific classes. Artificer, right out the gate, you get Flash of Genius. I believe it's like a 7th level ability. And that's just going to give your intelligence modifier to a skill check that you can use it on yourself or somebody else to give that bonus.
Bardic Inspiration, it's used for a lot of different things. A lot of times we're seeing it for attack rolls, saving throws. If you go for Valor, it's used, even for damage rolls. But, in that clutch situation, you can use it on ability checks, which falls into skills. And that starts off at a D6 and maxes out at a D12. So that's a pretty nice swing roll. Again, when we're talking in that, 10 to 30 range, or 1 to 30 range, getting a D12 into that, you can get that really, really high.
Now, next up is the Rogue. Rogue is also going to give you access to reliable talent. I believe it's an 11th level ability. And that just means you can't roll less than a 10 when you're making skill checks. So that brings our floor way up.
No, that's only on things that you are already proficient with. So, it's not going to be something that, it's going to work for everything, but it's super helpful. So Rogue's got a lot of skills. there's ways to get more. So yeah, Reliable Talent is a super sweet ability. Next up, if we go into the Wild Magic Sorcerer, the ability to bend luck, they can add a D4 to, that kind of check. So we're already stacking in some extra dice. We've got the Bard, we've got the Artificer, we now have the Sorcerer adding into that mix. So we're seeing a lot of dice pool building up onto this, particular ability check.
Yeah, and that for the Sorcerer, that's a 6th level ability. Finally, we have the Warlock. The Fiend Patron is going to give you the Dark One's own luck. And that's a D10 to add to that mix.
All right, so that's a 6th level ability. So you've got the ability to get that one, pretty early. It's going to apply to your checks, so you can mix that well with the Rogue and the Reliable Talent and the Expertise, because the other ones are things that someone else can apply to you. But we're still not done yet. What's up next?
Right. So as of right now, I believe there's one feat, and you can only take it if you are a half-elf or human, and that is Prodigy. It's actually going to give you a skill, a language, a tool proficiency, and expertise in a skill. It's actually the only way to get expertise without, taking a character class or subclass at this point in the game. There's some UA feats that are probably get made into regular feats soon, but they're not there quite yet.
But then we have a whole host of spells that are going to, be useful, in these, particular situations. First up is going to be Guidance. It's a cantrip. You can get access to it by Cleric, Druid, or Artificer. It's concentration, and, during that spell, on one skill check, you can add a D4. So this is another die that we get to add into our pool.
In the latest Critical Role book from Matt Mercer, you're going to get Fortune's Favor, which is, I believe that's a spell that Liam uses a lot.
Yeah, Caleb's character, he's gotten access to Dunamancy, which is where this spell comes from. So basically, this is going to be a reroll. And D&D is usually pretty stingy about, dice rolls. So if you're rolling with advantage, typically, unless something specifically says otherwise, you can't add another die on to that. You can't re-roll in there. You've already rolled 2 dice. Dunamancy actually allows you to do that with Fortune's Favor. Whether you're rolling with advantage or disadvantage, you can then still grab one of those dice and roll again. And, take whichever one fulfills that criteria. So it's another way that of like, all right, you want a chance getting that higher number, you got a third roll in that.
So next up we have Enhance Ability, great spell. It gives you a bunch of different ways to basically get advantage.
It's super sweet, and you're gonna pick one particular stat block, and all ability checks made with that stat are going to be made with advantage. So if you're going into a very intense, intelligent situation, I need to know skills, or I need to, do skills for puzzles. This is going to be really helpful because, all of those checks are going to be made with advantage during that scenario. It is concentration, but it's given by a lot of different classes, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Sorcerer, Artificer, as well as the Paladin Oath of Glory.
So next up is a super high level spell. Foresight basically just gives you advantage on everything. Last 8 hours isn't a concentration spell, but again, it's also a 9th level spell.
And the last spell that we're going to look at is Skill Empowerment. It's a 5th level spell. It is concentration, and it is Bard, Sorcerer, Wizard, and Artificer. And as Dave says, there's very few things that are actually going to give you expertise, but this is what that spell does. It takes something that you're already proficient with, and bam, as long as you don't already have expertise with it, it's going to give you expertise. So super helpful, super fun.
Next up, we have magic items. There's probably even more than we found, but right off the bat, Stone of Good Luck, or the Luck Stone, is awesome. +1 to all ability checks and saving throws. It is actually one of my favorite magic items in the game.
The Candle of Invocation is attuned to a specific alignment, and while it is lit and your alignment matches that of the candle, while you're within the radius of that light, your skill checks are going to be able to be made with advantage. This one I debated putting on the list because it's kind of a clutch situation. Very specific criteria, alignment matching in the area, and you're doing the skill check. But I felt, it was yet another way to get advantage. And so if you didn't already have it through one of these other ways, here's a way that you can get it.
No worries. So for the skill itself, you can get up to a plus 17.
So, that's going to be your proficiency bonus times 2, because we're looking at expertise for this situation, as well as maxing out the stat for that given skill, taking that all the way up to a 20. So 12 plus 5, 17, and that's before we're touching dice.
And now we're going to start adding dice to this. Inspiration can give us a D12.
So then we're going to add 2 die 4. That's for guidance and bend luck.
And then we're going to get Devil's Own Luck for another D10.
We're going to gain 1 from our Stone of Good Luck, and then 5 from our Artificer friend using their Flash of Genius.
So this is going to give us a range from a 28 to a 73. And actually, if we were going after like a very specific skill like Persuasion, we could actually bump that 73 up to, I believe, a 83 or so. But we're going to keep it more generic than that. And if you happen to be a rogue, things get a little better for you.
Yeah, with rogue having that reliable talent, that's going to increase, the floor, because anything a 9 or lower is just going to be treated as a 10. We're already adding our expertise, so we're assuming, we know that we are proficient, so reliable talent is going to kick in.
That's going to make that range a 37 to a 73. And if by chance you roll that 37 and that 28 and you are not able to make the check for some reason, but you happen to be a hobgoblin, you could use your save face ability and get another plus 5, bringing you up to either a 33 or a 42, just in case the roll was not high enough.
So, as comical as that is, we are looking at, numbers well beyond the typical range of what the 5th edition mechanics allow. And we are talking about, clutch situations, very specific. Do we have a sorcerer and artificer, hanging around? Do we have, that guidance spell? Do we have all of these magic items? Do we have, this? But it's absolutely amusing to see how possible it is to get to these ridiculous proportions.
We've had some stacks in our game, nothing quite that crazy, but on a smaller level, it has come up. If you have any crazy stories in your games where you've done this kind of stuff, let us know. Hey, and if you like this video and you might want to check out the Unstoppable Armor Class character build, if you want to just see us skyrocket some more numbers.
But if you're looking to enhance your gaming table, then you might want to check us out over on Patreon, where we're creating 5e content for players and DMs alike every month.
Our patrons get access to our monthly giveaways, and they're automatically entered in them, fan games run by us, and more.
So until next time, stay nerdy.